I love it when protocols launch on testnet. It means that we can start playing around with their platform and get a really good understanding of what on earth they have been building for the last few months. And this is the latest one I've been playing around with. This is Butane. It's another synthetic protocol being built on the Cardano blockchain, and this is built on the ground up, all brand new code, nothing's copied, nothing's leveraged, and they're also taking a very strong open source approach and putting all of their smart contracts and development online. So this is a really, really good approach, and it really will help with the Cardano ecosystem in general. A lot of other developers can learn from what the team here are doing and implement it on their own protocols. Now, for those that don't know what synthetics are, they're essentially created assets on the blockchain that mimic something else. For example, Bitcoin isn't native to the Cardano ecosystem, but you can create a synthetic version of it that is collateralized with some other assets such as ADA, and then use that synthetic asset to track the price movement of Bitcoin. So you can enjoy that price action and trade against that synthetic asset without actually owning Bitcoin itself. Now, if you've been around Cardano long enough, you would know that Indigo was the first synthetic protocol to launch, and they have been growing phenomenally over the last year and been doing really well in terms of building up their community. If you have a look at their TVL here, in terms of rankings, they are at 86.63 million worth of TVL locked in their ecosystem. And if I have a look at the TVL stats in terms of ADA, you can see it just continuously increasing over the last year here. You can also see a spike up in the last couple of weeks in regards to the amount of TVL ADA locked into their protocol. So really strong growth from a synthetic asset protocol on the Cardano ecosystem. Now with Butane, there are a lot of really interesting and different things that they have implemented on their platform, which makes it really stand out from anything else built on Cardano at the moment. Now, let me just take you through the process of creating a synthetic asset, and you'll see a couple of these things that I'm talking about. So let me create some synthetic assets here. In this case, I'll create some Japanese yen. I haven't done that one yet, so let's try this one out. And here on the screen, I can choose the collateral that I want to use for this CDP. But this is the interesting aspect here. I can also choose other tokens at the same time. So I can use USDB and Butane token and USDS if I had that as well, but I don't. So I'm going to create this synthetic Japanese yen with these three assets, which is really cool. So let me just add in some numbers here. I'll put in 500 ADA, put in 50 USDB, and a little bit of the Butane token as well. So I put in 200 of that. Now this will give me a borrowing capacity of a certain amount, and I've been given 62,000 Japanese yen. So that's my maximum that I can borrow. So now I can move this slider across and allocate how much I want to actually borrow. So I'll borrow 70% of Japanese yen and create this CDP. So here we are, my CDP, this is my transaction here, this all looks good. Now this is another really interesting feature of the platform, and it's the CPU, memory, and transaction size. So on the platform itself, you can actually group together numerous transactions at the same time and optimize your transaction based on how much memory, how much CPU, and how big this transaction is. So at the moment, this is quite small. So let me just go ahead and create this CDP. And there we go, my transaction is being submitted. So this is my portfolio of my CDP. I can see the values here, and also the very important one, this health factor rating. There we go, and that's complete, that's been created. So at any point in time, if this health factor rating goes down, I can adjust the amount of assets that are in this particular CDP. Now I can add in another asset if I had it, or remove assets anytime I want. And the beauty about having multiple different assets is you're not as worried about a particular asset tanking and destroying your collateralized debt position and being liquidated in that process. Because you have multiple different assets, you're de-risking yourself from being liquidated on a particular downfall of an asset. So let's say I only had ADA in this CDP and the price of ADA dropped dramatically, causing this to be liquidated. And that is not a situation that I want to be in. I don't want to be monitoring my CDPs constantly. But having that spread across multiple different assets, if ADA did drop dramatically, but the value of USDB and BTN remained the same or went up, it would offset that drop in my ADA, and my health factor of my CDP would still remain good. So it's really cool that I can have multiple different assets within my CDP on the platform. So let's quickly create another one here. I'll create the USDB again, and I'll put in ADA and some LendFi tokens for this particular debt position. Everything here on the right looks good as well. So let me sign this transaction and we are done. So I'll just wait for this to clear. Wow, that was fast. Okay. Now, the really cool thing here is that I can actually click on making it really optimized and grouping transactions together in one action. This means less fees for me, more transactions per second for Cardano. Really cool stuff that the guys have built here. Now, the community feedback has been pretty cool, and there's a couple of things that I haven't been able to action yet on the protocol, but others have. And this one here is being able to open a CDP, but then liquidate someone at the same time in the same transaction. That is really cool. The ability to use multiple CNTs as collateral, you saw that just before in my video, and multiple CDPs for the same assets have the ability to merge them afterwards, allowing for better management of your funds based on how you're going with your synthetic assets. So that is also really cool. Maybe I'm creating USDB multiple times over the course of a month. I can merge them all into one CDP and manage them all that way too. Really cool stuff. And this is a brand new update from the team that just came out, and I had to cut back and edit this one in. I really have to show you this. This is really cool. So here you can see they're creating a CDP, but this option here, it says place sell immediately on Sunday swap. So now that is amazing. So I'm creating a CDP of Bitcoin BTCB, placing that immediately on sale. So I'm adding in BTN as my collateral using a safe margin. Let's say, there we go, 32% for that CDP, creating that CDP, selling it on Sunday swap all in one transaction. That is some crazy stuff there. Not just interoperability between different blockchains, but interoperability between the different protocols, making it easier for you guys to trade, create assets, and make some gains within the blockchain space. That is awesome. The team have also had some really good feedback from prominent figures in the Cardano ecosystem, but also some negative feedback. If you have a look down here, this guy says, amazing how you promote manure and do zero research on 100% copy paste existing protocols, stealing ideas and shaming everyone who won't open source and let their work be taken for free. Now, this is probably because there is some resistance with the existing protocol Indigo. Maybe this person has a large bag holding of Indigo token and maybe feeling a bit threatened by this brand new synthetic protocol coming to Cardano. I can't comment. I'm not sure exactly their position on anything here, but I can confirm that a lot of the work that Micah has done is not copy-paste code. It is actual brand new code and is being open sourced all at the same time. And if you have a look at one of Farid's videos that he did a few months ago, 4 months ago, I should say, if you have a look at the comments down below, there are a lot of people that are, wow, oh my gosh, project not even launched yet, and we know they're considering their own token as collateral for its CDP. Wow, red flag. And if you go down further, why he not show face? Kind of sus, and massive red flags, no face, etc., etc. So there are a lot of people that are questioning the project and the team itself. But to have some people in the Cardano ecosystem that are premier developers, these guys are the top of the top in the ecosystem, defend Micah and his work is really cool. So let me just read this one here from Phil. He's a phenomenal developer in the Cardano ecosystem and is the CEO of Anastasia Labs, one of the development firms that has been auditing a lot of the code in the Cardano ecosystem. 100% copy-paste existing protocols, stealing ideas and shaming everyone who won't open source and let their work be taken for free. That's a quote back to that previous comment down here. Embarrassing. These comments legitimize people in other ecosystems who look down on us. Smart contracts are not your product. They are binding financial contracts between parties that interact with them. Even then, you don't need to let your work be stolen, you can use any number of licenses that don't permit others to use your smart contracts. Beyond even that, contrary to popular opinion, being closed source doesn't prevent others from copying and reusing your smart contracts. For any protocol that is live on mainnet, myself and most other Cardano developers would be able to easily copy it and release a clone, since it is trivial to find and replace script parameters, policy IDs, and hard-coded keys. Also, the above is totally irrelevant considering that the fact that Micah hasn't copied or built Butane on top of anything. Quite the opposite. He has been continuously contributing to and publishing open source code that others in the ecosystem can build upon and benefit from. And if you have a look at their team, you can see Micah and Jay, who's been doing a lot of the demos lately, as well as a couple of prominent advisors. You see Lucas here, Lucas Rosser. And for those that don't know, Lucas wrote Aiken, the smart contract language that everyone seems to be using at the moment. And I did confirm that it was him and not just the team putting up some face. Lucas did confirm that he is an advisor for Butane. So, who is this mysterious Micah? We shall find out.